Hey, it's Nick, live from Blanet Fort once again, and as always, I want to preface this by saying that I might smoke on camera, but here's a bag of tobacco. I am one of a few people out there that actually does smoke tobacco out of a pipe, so no funny business here. It's tobacco. So, what I'm here today to talk about is filmmaking. And for quite some time, I've thought about how could I come at this. And this is going to be the very first in a series of videos that I do on filmmaking and how to improve your own personal filmmaking. And actually, one of the things right now is I actually don't have a diffusion on the light that I'm using right now. And the reason why is because I actually took it down. And I myself, I don't break out any of my large equipment for simple videos like this that I do because I don't need to. And one of the big things that I'm talking about today is diffusion, and at the same time, making your light more directional at the same time. I suppose this is going to start a series of what I am going to call big, little filmmaking tips. So I thought about how I could come at this, and I thought that whoops, sorry there, that's coming off and on there. One of the big things that I thought about was how could I come at this, and I personally have read tons and tons of books. I've watched lots and lots of videos, lots of video series. I've gotten tips from other filmmakers, and just all of these sorts of things. And a lot of times people can get a little bit too in-depth in a very short amount of time, and it just confuses. So what I'm trying to do is just give little tips. I'll give 1 or 2 tips every video, and it'll just be something small that you can incorporate into your own filmmaking process. And I am also going to try to keep all of these things very simple. I have a lot of more complex lighting equipment and such. And actually, I'll go ahead and pause right now, and I'll come back with one light that I have. And I'll just show it to you real quick. So here, I'll come. Okay, so here is one of the soft boxes that I use in filmmaking. It has 5 different lights, and you're able to turn on each light individually. So you can range it from 100% down to 20% or no light in 20% increments. And it has CFL bulbs, which and actually they're 45 watts. And actually one of them has been taken out, as you might notice. There's only 4 in there right now, and one of them's actually used in a little drop light, basically, that I'm using to film this, because I don't need a complicated setup. I just have a 1-light setup for these videos that I'm doing, the live from the Blanet Fort series. Then I've got something like this, and this is a Fresnel light. This one in particular is a pepper. And you're able to aim the light more easily by moving this back and forth. You can flood or spot. And of course then I have a light stand here that I use for some of that stuff, and sandbags and all sorts of things, like gels and everything else to change the color of the light and stuff. But you don't always need all these complicated things. Sometimes you can do things very simply. And I understand that a lot of times you don't have access to things like this. This stuff costs money, I mean, you might not be doing this on a purely professional level like I do myself. And, and like I said, sometimes I do simple videos like this, and I personally don't break out all of the crazy tools, because you don't always have to. And so what I'm talking about today, my big little tip, are 2 very simple things that you might already have laying around. One of them you might not have laying around, but one of them I'm sure you do. Now this right here, what is this? This is a heat blanket. you might already have this laying around, and if you don't, you can pick them up for like $1 or $2, and they're very wonderful in the fact that you can direct your light a little bit more. Now, the other thing that I have is this, and I'm sure you already have one of these laying around. It's just a simple white plastic bag. And now, you can't use this with regular bulbs, of course. I can use it with my 45 watt CFL. It doesn't generate enough heat to where it's going to melt these things. You know, you don't want to use this on a standard everyday light bulb. But a lot of these things you already have laying around. You might already have a drop light type thing. You definitely already have a plastic bag. You probably already have some CFLs laying around. You might not have 45 watt CFLs like I've got. You know, you might have a 13 to 20 watt one. This one's a 45 watt right here, and that's what's plugged in right there. Now, I think I just handled that by the CFL, and I was just kind of excited on set. You know, and in general, don't handle it by the base, always. But one of the tips, one of the things that I do for these videos is I take a regular everyday plastic bag, I take this piece of heat blanket material, put one inside the other, and then I just take it and I put it over this drop light, and then I just tie it at the top, and now I have a nice general diffused light. It's also directional. It's at the same time that diffuses the light, makes it a little bit softer, it also allows me the ability to concentrate that light, because off that direction I'm not filming. I want the light this way. And at the same time I'm able to diffuse that light and make it a little bit softer. So this is one of my tips. This is something that you could try to do in your own filmmaking, is just use, you don't even need that heat blanket material. Just a simple plastic bag can help you to make your light just a little bit softer. And of course that material can help you to control it and move it and make it directional. See, already there I've kind of changed how that light acts and what it's doing to our little scene right here. You know, and that's because of that heat blanket material, that I'm able to aim it in a certain direction and already change how we're doing the scene. You see that? There's a lot of little subtle differences that we can do with just a very simple couple of things, like a plastic bag and a piece of heat blanket material. And of course, you know, you set it and it doesn't make that crinkly noise anymore, and that'd be pretty annoying to have that. But this is just first in a part of series, and this one may have taken a little bit longer, and that's because I had to explain that I'm, you know, trying to make things easy and make them cheap. And so that's one other place that you can get that material, if you don't have a heat blanket, if you have an old Mylar balloon that has that same kind of stuff in it. So I'll try to, in the future, have different tips and have them be big little tips. So they're really little, they're very inexpensive, and they can enhance your ability to make a film, make it on the cheap, and make it look good. And of course, you can also, if there's blue bags, you can use that like a gel. You know, if you can find a red one, or pink one, or a blue one, or I said blue, but any color, of course, that can change how that light looks. So there's lots of different things you might already have laying around that can do that. So that's without it right there. So there you go. A simple piece of heat blanket or a Mylar balloon and a plastic bag, and all of a sudden you have a diffused light that is directional. So there you go. I hope you enjoy my big little tip, And I'm not sure what the next one will be, but I've already promised everybody out there that I'll be trying to make more of these things. And if you could please, I've put a link right here. Right now we have, and that is a link to an actual video that I did. And it has information about a film that I'm doing called Coyote. And if you want to go straight to that page, I'll put that link right here. And that is Indiegogo, indiegogo.com/Coyote, and we have 66 hours left right now to fundraise for the film. Our goal was $4,000, and right now we're at $4,214. Wow, we went over it. But we could always use more. You know, that $4,000 was a minimum, so that we can basically eat dry bologna sandwiches for a month while we make this film. This is a month-long film shoot for a feature-length film. We're starting in July, on July 1st. So it's going to be a pretty hairy shoot, and being able to have a little bit of cash so we can have a hot meal would help out a lot. Just $1 would be amazing. And otherwise, go to that link for the video and just give it a thumbs up. Give us a like, you know, and give a comment in that video, and that will help us rank higher on YouTube and get the message out there, and hopefully we can get a few more funders. So, to sum up, grab yourself a plastic bag, grab yourself a heat blanket or a Mylar balloon, put those two things together, and all of a sudden you've got diffused and directional light. Because of course I can do that kind of thing with like my big tools like the pepper right here, and I have other lower wattage ones, and you know, for just straight up diffused light I can use my softbox and such, but you know, sometimes you don't need all these things. I'm making this video right now, and it works out perfectly fine using this and this. So we'll end this. I made this go way above time that you probably want to sit around and listen to me. So I'll end this, and I'll try to do some in the future. I'm trying not to do them too often. I actually already have another video that I did that I'm not uploading yet because it's more of a social issue video. But I'm not trying to flood the market. I don't want to constantly put out videos, but I do have ideas. So maybe once every day or two, and at most, you know, if I'm very busy, I'll do a video once a week or every 2 weeks. But I'm hoping that I have enough ideas that I can pre-film a bunch of them and then just like release them every couple of days, or maybe even every day, depending on however many ideas I come up with. So stay tuned for more of Nick's big little filmmaking tips. And as always, I'm going to end... Oh, hey, I haven't smoked in a little while. And I don't support smoking, okay? Just so you know, I think it's a very personal thing, but at the moment I am a smoker, so I smoke. So, but it's up to you to smoke, and definitely if you're, you know, under 18 or whatever the age is where you're at. I don't support that at all. But, yeah, enough of that nonsense. Blah. In the words, and this is how I end all my videos, and I do it in the words of my favorite YouTube musical artist, the Ukulele, which she makes really cool music, a lot of times using her ukulele. She's a really cool person. You should check her out. But she often ends her videos in this way, and I'm going to do it myself. So in the words of my favorite YouTube musical artist, the Ukulele, push the button.